So are you seeing my presentation?
Perfectly.
Yes? Okay, so I will start. My area is very different from the previous work because I teach in the Polytechnic Institute of Viseu social educators how to work with the elderly and older persons. This work is a team work, of course, with the colleagues from University of Aveiro, which is very close to Viseu, and with José Cid from University of Vigo. It's a work about the transformation of social educators during the pandemic, of social educators working with older people, with the use of photo voice as main methodology. So as background, as all of you know, the pandemic has changes our lives in different ways, but indeed older persons were very affected because they are in higher risk of being infected, of suffering for severe risks, and even of dying. Especially the aged care facilities were very affected. They had to change a lot of situations, protocols, ways of working. They have to manage with hard situations, including outbreaks, losses of persons. And in Portugal, the professional of social education is very present in this field of intervention. There is high opportunities of work in residential and other kind of facilities, and that's why this professional was very present in this pandemic, and it was a frontline professional. That's why our aim in this presentation the study was to capture the perspectives of social educators working in social care service for older adults in Portugal, in order to find how these experiences changed and transformed them as persons and as professionals. So we use the photo voice methodology, which, as you may know, is a participatory action research method in which the participants document something about their lives in positive or negative ways using cameras, in this case using the cameras of their phones. This technique is very powerful for several reasons, because the visual images are a good way to work with different groups, and there are a few experiences of the use of photo voice with professionals, namely social educators. This methodology is based on three very important theoretical understandings for social education, as the Paulo Freire's approach to critical education, the feminist theory, and also the use of documentary photography with persons from the community. In the figure of the right side of the screen, we may see the typical photo voice path, which was our approach in this project. We developed a program with 6 sessions. The first one was to explain the program, how to take the pictures, what kind of pictures may be shot, the ethical issues, which are very important in this kind of things. The other 4 sessions were to present with voice the pictures, and the last one was an exhibition to stakeholders of this topic of intervention. Our program is called Eyes on the Pandemic, a photo voice program, and for this presentation I will share the results from the session number 2, which was about personal and professional changes. In this session, there were 12 of the 13 participants of the program, 12 social educators working during the pandemic in residential facilities, but also day centers and home care services. 11 were women, and the mean age was about 29 years old. The data collection were the photos and the voices, narratives of the photos, which were recorded, transcribed, and then analyzed in a qualitative way by 2 independent researchers. So I will present the qualitative analysis, and there were 4 main categories and topics. The first one related with the growth, the second one with the reinvention of the intervention of social educators, the third about the importance of the teamwork, and the last one about the future. Looking at each one, we can see that within the first one, which was the more mentioned, there are 2 sub-themes, one related with resilience. Most of participants agree that they become more resilient with this experience, which is expected, in a way that they have a sense of self-overcoming, they have increased responsibilities, and they are more receptive, open, and prepared to the next challenges. The second subtopic are the new perspectives of life, in a way that they give different value to little things in life. They think there was a development of important skills in themselves, such as compassion, humility, and humanity, and they also highlight the need for having serenity, being calm, and also one of the participants shared that she had more appreciation for working with older people because of the pandemic. In the second category, we can see that their intervention changed a lot, of course. First, because of the protective measures, and here they highlight that although not being health professionals, they also wear the suit in the sense that they also wear frontline professionals, and these kind of materials are very important in their present intervention. Other thing in this category is the beginning of the pandemic, which was characterized by naivety, in the sense that they felt lack of information and preparation about pandemics and this kind of crisis. And we can see here some narratives of a participant that started to work in the beginning of the pandemic. So as she said, she had no time to baby steps, to learn, to have a mistake, because it was a very difficult period where there was no space to mistakes, according to her reports. And she presented this photo to represent this kind of meaning. Also in this category, they present information regarding the need to manage the emotions and the new needs of older people and their families, and they have a critical role in this kind of response. And here we see two pictures taken in their professional contexts about these great emotions and new needs, but they share that they also have to manage their own emotions. And in several days they have anxiety and fear, but they have to transmit security and calm to others, and that was a big issue. And these two pictures represent these two challenges. In the next category, they report the importance of the teamwork. The union and the support was essential to respond to the pandemics, and the pandemic leads to a better communication, proximity and relationship between professionals of their contexts. Also, the boundaries that were crossed without neglecting individual competencies, and as you may see in this excerpt, these participants refer that the hierarchies were not taken into account. There was no time for that, which bring more union between colleagues. The last category was entitled Eyes on the Future, and here they report by one side the uncertainty about what the future will be. There are still several doubts about procedures, but they agree that some practices, as the use of masks and the use of digital technologies with older people and their families, will remain in the future in a good way. There are also concerns about the repercussions of these pandemics on other people and on the team, especially in what regards mental health, as you were previously saying. The second subtopic is entitled Taken the Lessons Learned, and in overall they agree that this situation, a negative situation for sure, will create opportunities to improve, namely in the area of aging. And we can see here a picture in the left side representing this feeling of hope in the future, hope that things will get better, but also hope in this window of improvement. So as final remarks, we would like to affirm that the social educators played a very important role during the pandemic, supporting older people, their families and other professionals. And we as academic also see this situation as an opportunity to improve our work as professors of social educators. Here we would like to highlight that this pandemic came to alert to the need for an even greater investment in gerontological intervention professionals. And here we believe that social educators have a good profile to work in this area, and also the need for more support for the development of skills to act in crises, because more crises could begin in the next years, as well as in specific areas that have emerged and gained even more importance, as the ageism, which have to be stopped, the importance of digital technologies, which need more actions of digital literacy, also to consider the new needs of older adults, namely in what regards loneliness, isolation, problems of mental health, and also physical ones, and this thing about interprofessional practice that came up during the pandemic and should be further improved. So it is time to rethink the socio-educational intervention in aging, and there is here a great opportunity to do that together. Some final references, and a big thank you for your attention, and there is my email if you want to ask furthermore.